KHNC 1360 AM, Johnstown, Denver.
There you go. My friends, are you feeling the burn? That's my question today. Are you feeling the burn? Item from my Miami Herald. As Liliana picks lice from the tangled thick hair of her boyfriend Patricio as they sit together on the sidewalk of a Caracas street, she's also multitasking, keeping a watchful eye on her, quote, family. When a 10-year-old girl named Danyan Yeliz kneels down to drink water from a puddle, Liliana reproaches her, urges her to have a sip from a juice bottle they've just found in a garbage bag. At 16, Liliana has become the mother figure for a gang of Venezuelan children and young adults called the Chacao, named after the neighborhood they've claimed as their territory. The 15 members, ranging in age from 10 to 23, work together to survive vicious fights for, quote, quality garbage in crumbling, shortage-plagued Venezuela. Their weapons are knives and sticks and machetes. The prize? Garbage that contains food good enough to eat. Unquote. My friends, are you feeling the burn? Well, I'm talking about Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders, the socialist who wants to bring socialism to America. The young love him. The hip love him. The cool love him. And if Hillary Clinton hadn't been a lying, cheating scum, together with the other lying, cheating scum at the DNC, well, Uncle Bernie would have been the Democrat candidate, and no doubt millions and millions of morons would have voted for him. He wants America to be socialist, just like Venezuela, where people are suffering under horrifying economic conditions, incredible poverty. They're breaking into zoos to eat the animals. They're vying with each other for who gets the best garbage, and this is what Bernie Sanders would have brought to America, and this is what millions and millions of liberals wanted him to bring to America. Well, my friends, there's no way to stop liberals from voting. I mean, this is America after all. The best we can do is to put the facts out in front of them, talk to them about this stuff, and hope that they can vote smarter. I know there's just about no chance that liberals will do anything smarter, but this is our quest. This is our mission in this life, because if we don't smarten up some voters, and I mean fast, all the Donald Trumps in the world aren't going to save us. By the way, this is Real Truth. My name is Howard Riell. Be right back.
The American Freedom Network needs your vote. Please call 245. That's 1-800-205-645 to make your donation. Or send a check or money over to PO Box 1750, Johnstown, Colorado, 80534. PO Box 1750, Johnstown, Colorado, 80534. Help us keep the voice of truth and freedom on the air. Thank you.
Choice City Electric in Fort Collins reminds listeners, out of sight should not mean out of mind. Let's remember our brave men and women in the military by sending care packages to them while they are away. You need not have a specific soldier in mind to help. Just call your local veterans organization. This message is from Choice City Electric in Fort Collins, your electrical and retrofit specialist. Visit them online or call 970-493-4077. That's 970-493-4077.
Beloved, do not believe the every spirit, but test the spirit, whether they are God, because many false prophets have gone into the world. By this you will know the Spirit of God. Every spirit that confesses that Yeshua, Jesus, has come in the flesh of God, and every spirit that does not confess that Yeshua, Jesus, has come in the flesh, is not of God. And this is the spirit of Antichrist, which you have already heard was coming and is now already in the world. 1 John 4:1.
All right, guys, welcome back. I am Howard Riell. You know, I hate to hit you with bad news right at the beginning of the show. All right, I'll be honest. I really enjoy hitting you with bad news at the beginning of the show to wake people up. I've said before, as we get close to my 10-year anniversary here on KHNC this August, this is not entertainment. This show is a cold slap in the face that says, wake the hell up. Because while you've been napping, people are basically stealing your life and your kids' lives. To wit, item from the OC Register, the Orange County Sheriff's Department, whose leadership opposes the new California sanctuary law that limits cooperation with federal immigration officials, announced on Monday. It's now providing public information on when inmates are released from custody. As of Monday, March 26th, an existing Who's in Jail online database includes the date and time of inmates' release, a move agency officials say will enhance communication with its law enforcement partners, unquote. Brilliant. My friends, I love this. There's some people in California, of all places, where IQ points are as hard to find as unicorns, doing the right thing, saying sanctuary cities are an obscenity. And they're cooperating with ICE officials. I absolutely love it. My hat's off. See, I'm taking my hat off. My hat's off to the people running the Orange County Sheriff's Department. I hope other sheriff's departments around the country are watching. Item from ABC News. The 2020 U.S. Census will include a question about citizenship status, a move that brought swift condemnation from Democrats, who said it would intimidate immigrants and discourage them from participating. Stop. Wrong. Lie. Crap, like everything that comes from the Democrats. Thing number one. Won't intimidate immigrants. A lot of people are immigrants. It will intimidate maybe illegal immigrants. That is to say, criminals. Number one. Number two, a census is a gathering of information about U.S. citizens. They're not citizens. Why would we want their information? Number three. I'm against discrimination in all forms. If we're going to include non-American citizens who live here, why are we discriminating against non-American citizens who live in Malaysia or Mongolia or Australia or Germany or France? They're also not Americans. Let's include them. Note, this complete idiocy of counting illegal aliens / prisoners, criminals, just like they were citizens, just as good as you or me, is a Democrat idea. And so, Democrat voters out there, once again, consider this a wet slap in your face. Wake up and be smarter. Item from the Des Moines Register. More former nursing assistants from a Northeast Iowa care facility have been arrested for allegedly having sexual relationships with patients, according to the Fayette County Sheriff's Office. 3 women were arrested on March 23rd after allegedly having relationships with patients at the Prairie View Residential Care Facility in Fayette. The facility provides care for people with chronic mental illness, intellectual disabilities, or medical conditions. My friends, give me a break. If I want to have relations with people with chronic mental illnesses and intellectual disabilities, thanks, I'll get married again. Item from the Miami Herald. Amid a wide gap between modest teacher salaries and Miami's high housing prices, the county has a new plan. Build apartments or on school property and let faculty live there. My friends, this is a stupid idea from so many different angles, I don't even know where to begin, and so I won't. Item from Fox 5 New York. French authorities say the killing of an elderly Jewish woman in Paris is being investigated as an anti-Semitic murder. The woman, identified in French media as Riell Knoll, was stabbed at least 11 times and her body was set on fire. Paris prosecutor's office said Monday 2 suspects have been put in custody. It said it is asking investigating judges to charge the pair with premeditated murder of a vulnerable person for anti-Semitic motives. Unquote. My friends, yes, we've got to criminally charge these two suspects. While we're there, let's criminally charge the leadership in France for importing poison, for lowering its border walls. They don't really have walls. And allowing migrants from the Middle East, Muslim migrants into the country, which, since we're talking about France, I'll mention this, is the death of France. Item from Agence France Presse, Dateline Athens. A Greek bishop will be retried after being controversially acquitted on charges of inciting violence against homosexuals, a judicial source said Tuesday. Bishop Ambrosios, whose name is Athanasios Lenis, labeled gay people the, quote, dregs of society, and called on his followers to both spit on and blacken them in a written address in 2015. Nothing like old-time religion, right? Item from Breitbart. A failed asylum seeker who was deported to Afghanistan in 2010 and returned to the United Kingdom last year via Italy has been jailed for raping an 18-year-old, treating her as a, quote, disposable sexual commodity, unquote. Masoud Wakili, 27, tried to apply for asylum in Italy, considered a backdoor to the EU for failed asylum seekers, 9 months ago. But according to his defense, the Afghan was told by Italian authorities that because he was already on the UK system, he needed to apply from Britain, unquote. Item from the Economic Collapse blog, Michael Snyder reporting, I don't know if I even have the words to express how disgusted I am with the omnibus spending bill that was just rushed through Congress. Members of the House of Representatives were given less than 24 hours to read this 2,232-page monstrosity of a bill before they were expected to vote on it. And so obviously nobody was able to read the entire thing before the vote was held. This is the kind of thing Democrats were greatly criticized for in the past, but now it's Republicans that are doing it. The Republican Party is supposed to stand for limited government, and this is yet another example that shows how badly broken the system in Washington has become. I'm running for Congress, says Snyder, in Idaho's 1st Congressional District, and I want to make it exceedingly clear I would have voted against this bill. In addition to fully funding Planned Parenthood, this bill also funds a whole host of other liberal priorities. My friends, when we come back, I'm going to go through that list of liberal priorities, and you'll see exactly what your Republican representatives voted for. We'll be right back.
Became flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory, the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. John bore witness of him and cried out, saying, This was he of whom I said, He who comes after me is preferred before me, for he was before me. The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 14 and 15. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just power from the consent of the governed. This is the America News Network.
Chapel and Collins LLC salutes our emergency first responders for their professionalism, commitment, and bravery. They're willing to put their lives on the line for us with little or no thanks. So let's all take the time to thank our first responders for all they do for us. Also thanking our veterans for the sacrifice they made for our freedom. This message is from Chapel and Collins LLC, with 2 locations in Denver and Fort Collins, serving the community for over 13 years. Visit them online at chapelcollins.com. Piccolo's restaurant in Denver reminds us that over 750,000 children were reported missing last year. Over 58,000 of these were abducted by non-family members. Keep an eye out for youngsters at play, and if you see anything suspicious, contact the authorities immediately. This message from Piccolo's restaurant in Denver is not only the best Italian and Mexican cuisine, it's the people who care. Give them a call at 303-757-5166.
303 757 5166. Take a look.
All right, guys, welcome back to Real Truth. Let's talk about sex. Well, all right, not really sex. Let's talk about pornography. Well, all right, not pornography. Let's talk about a porn star. Well, all right, hang on. Let me back up a little bit. Let's talk about Stormy Daniels, who was on 60 Minutes on Sunday talking about an alleged fling she had one time with Donald Trump. Everybody's talking about it just because it's salacious, just because it's a juicy topic, right? All right, let's hear what Rush Limbaugh has to say.
So I watched it last night, and Catherine could not believe. And I'm sending her text messages. She's watching in another room. It's one of the dog's birthdays, and so she's out with one of the dogs. And I started sending her notes about the interview on 60 Minutes. She said, "Craig, you're watching this? I can't believe you would waste your time watching this." I said, "I want to know what you think about it." So we were talking about it, and I got to tell you something, folks. When it was all over, I didn't feel horny, anything of the sort. If this is the star of the Make America Horny Again tour, this thing was a big, big bomb out. And you know what else? Can you imagine how in Africa last night they had to be sweating it out? I mean, they had to be sweating bullets because the last time an American president was alleged to have had an affair, he started bombing aspirin factories over there. For you youngins, that would be William Jefferson Blythe Clinton. And that was during the Lewinsky escapade. And not only did he bomb an aspirin, actually a Tylenol factory in Africa, he also sent a missile into an office building in Baghdad on a Saturday night when the only guy there that got blown to bits was a custodian, a janitor. So, greetings. They built this thing up, and they built this thing up, and they continue to build this thing up, and they raised expectations. And I'm sorry, this thing last night, I don't know if you watched it or not. We don't have any sound bites on it, I don't think, and I'm not asking for any. But it was a dud. Do you know what this ended up starting to watch it? Do you know what it ended up being? It ended up being an attempt to get Trump on campaign finance violations over this $130,000. That ended up being the main thrust. The babe says they had sex one time. She signed 3 different affidavits claiming they never had sex. So she has admitted lying one way or the other on this. 3 different affidavits. She starts out saying, hey, I'm not Me Too. I'm not a victim here. I don't want anybody associating me with that. And at the end of the interview, she starts talking about how she was bullied. And so forth. I just, this thing, the left, I don't know what they thought they had in this, but it was a dud given the expectations. You know, this lawyer that she's got has been running around talking about secret this and secret that, something on a disc, maybe pictures or something in a safe. And so the thing airs last night, and then after it's over, the lawyer says, this is only phase 1. Hey, bud, phase 2, nobody's going to see. You got to launch everything you got. Even Stormy Daniels knows this. You got to give it everything you got the first go-round because nobody's going to care about the second one. The first one is a bomb. And it really ended up where the guests that Anderson Cooper brought in, that 60 Minutes brought in, to buttress her story was over the $130,000 and how it could qualify as a campaign finance violation. And then they brought somebody on to say how, yeah, this could easily end up over in Robert Mueller's investigation. And at that point, it became crystal clear what this was, and it's not at all what it was promoted to be. We were expecting all kinds of salaciousness and dirt and all of this, and I mean it had that. Don't misunderstand. I'm just talking about versus the expectations. The primary thrust, of this interview last night with the porn queen, Stormy Daniels, was the real threat to Trump here is that it may have been a campaign finance violation for Trump's lawyer to give her 130 grand to shut up all orifices. What? Of course they have no shame. No, they don't care what. It's the highest rated program since Obama was here in 2008. That's all they care about. The highest rated 60 Minutes since Obama's pre-election interview in 2008 with Michelle Nibel. Anyway, here's my point about this. Here you have this porn star who says they had sex once, but then signed 3 different affidavits where they had never had sex. The real energy in the show to where Trump is really vulnerable is campaign finance law violations. Okay, fine. You know, every ad, campaign finance law requires a disclaimer on every political TV and radio ad. You know, I'm Joe Schmo, politics as usual, and I approve of this, that kind of thing. Now, I wanted to finish one other thing here about the Stormy Daniels business, because it's a teachable moment. The Democrats and the media rev this all up as though some kind of dirty, salacious, sexual encounter is going to be detailed. And then when they've got everybody's attention, they throw it off into another area like campaign finance violation. I want you to listen to this. This is Anderson Cooper from the interview with Stormy Daniels last night. And this is the point in the interview where they toss this off as maybe being of real interest to the independent counsel looking into collusion between Trump and Russia, which, by the way, Trump has expelled 60 Russian spies and closed the Russian consulate in Seattle. He announced that this morning. The reason is because of the Russians' involvement using poison to kill somebody on British soil.
By the way, my friends, let me interrupt here for a second. Why would Vladimir Putin order Donald Trump to expel 60 Russian diplomats? Well, I mean, I know Donald Trump takes his orders from Vladimir Putin because Democrats have been beating on my eardrums for a year and a half saying that. Saying that Donald Trump is a quisling of Vladimir Putin. Donald Trump is an agent of Russia. So when Donald Trump takes a move like that, obviously it must have come from the Kremlin. So I'm trying to figure out why Vladimir Putin wanted 60 of his own diplomats thrown out of this country. Or is it just that Democrats are liars and jackasses?
Standing firm with our great ally, the United Kingdom.
All right, we're going to find out what her main takeaway was, but I'm guaranteeing you, if she was a left-leaning journalist, her main takeaway came straight from the Democrat Party playbook.
Her main takeaway was?
All right, that's enough about porn star, would-be millionaire Stormy Daniels. The whole thing is a nothing. If your car breaks down and a mechanic comes to fix it, do you need to know about what he's doing when he's not at home with his wife? Do you need to know the kind of language he uses when he talks to people about women or about anything? Or you just want him to fix the car? Mr. Trump, please continue fixing America. Now, back to this $1.3 trillion omnibus bill. Senator Rand Paul, documented a few of the things that were in this bill. Now listen to this. $12 million for scholarships for Lebanon. $20 million for Middle East Partnership Initiative Scholarship Program. $12 million in military funding for Vietnam. $3.5 million in nutrition assistance for Laos. $15 million in developmental assistance to China, like they need our money. $10 million for women LEOs in Afghanistan. I don't even know what an LEO is. $1 million for the World Meteorological Organization. $218 million for promoting democracy development in Europe. $10 million for disadvantaged Egyptian students. $1.37 billion for contributions to international organizations. $51 million to promote international family planning and reproductive health. $7 million for promoting international conservation. $10 million for UN environmental programs. $5 million for Vietnam Education Foundation grants. $2.579 million for Commission on Security and Cooperation in Europe. $15 million to U.S. aid for promoting international higher education between universities. $1 million for the Cultural Antiquities Task Force. $6.25 million for the Ambassadors Fund for Cultural Preservation. $20 million for countering foreign state propaganda. $12 million for countering state disinformation and pressure. My friends, this is the pork barrel garbage. This is the waste product that you paid for out of your hard-earned money. President Trump, you should never have signed this mess. We'll be back.
Animal House Taxidermy in Brighton would like to take this time to say thank you to all the brave men and women in the armed forces who have served our country. Business owners, consider hiring veterans, our most dependable resource. And to those heroes back home for missions abroad, know that your dedication, selflessness, and courage are appreciated. May God bless America. This message is from Animal House Taxidermy in Brighton, proud to salute the fighting forces of our country.
This is Michael. Freedom Network meet your please call 6245. That's 1-800-05-645 to make your donation or send a check with the money over to PO Box 1750, Johnstown, Colorado 80534. PO Box 1750, Johnstown, Colorado 80534. Help us keep freedom on the air. Thank you.
Now this is the testimony of John when the Jews sent priests and Levites from Jerusalem to ask him, "Who are you?" He confessed and did not deny, but confessed, "I am not the Messiah." And they asked him, "What then? Are you Elijah?" He said, "I am not." "Are you the prophet?" And he answered, "No." The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 19 through 21.
The associates at your 24-hour Walmart Supercenter not yet remind. No one anywhere is more noble, righteous, selfless, and courageous than our United States Armed Forces. These brave men and women and their families put the bill for our freedom every day. Send a military care package today to let them know that they are in our hearts and our prayers and our thoughts. This message is from the associates at your 24-hour Walmart Supercenter on Highway 287 in Lafayette. They're on the air because they care. Elizabeth Locker Plan and Elizabeth reminds our listeners that the drug problem is well documented. We know our kids will be approached at early age. We want to applaud the youngsters in our community who have had the strength to say no to drugs. They provide examples to their peers and families to be the best they can be. That's from Elizabeth Locker Plan, located at 366 Grant Street in Elizabeth, serving our area since 1943 and specializing in natural life HB and pork and complete custom process. Call 303-688-2240. That's 303-688-2240. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America.
All right, guys, let's move on to other topics, shall we? We shall. I've got Roger Stone on the Alex Jones Show talking about the fact that John Bolton, former U.S. ambassador and the appointee to be the new National Security Advisor replacing General McMaster, is a huge improvement. And he's probably already doing great things for our national security. Here's Alex Jones and Roger Stone.
Joining us for the balance of this hour.
My friends, Donald Trump is in bed with no goblins, with all due respect to Stormy Daniels. Trump truly is an outsider. He is not part of the swamp. In fact, he is the conqueror, the drainer of the swamp. And that's really all the reason you need to vote for him. Let's take a break. We'll be back. More Real Truth.
And of his fullness we have all received, and grace for grace. For the law was given through Moses, but grace and truth came through Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus the Christ. No one has seen God at any time. The only begotten Son, who is in the bosom of the Father, he has declared him. The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 16. Article 4. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall be issued but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the places to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. If catastrophe struck, would your family be prepared? Are you confident you won't react in a panic? Is there one place to get all of your emergency supplies? Ferris Survival encourages you to have confidence through preparation, not panic through crisis. Ferris Survival, located at 3366 South Broadway, is a professional, reputable, full-service business providing quality, realistic preparedness supplies at an affordable price. Go online, stop by, or call 303-781-0343. Ferris Survival.
American Window Tinting Incorporated in Franktown reminds parents, keep an eye on your child while shopping. Children tend to stray or become lost. This poses an opportunity for a would-be abductor. Please make every effort to keep track of your little one at all times. If you have information regarding a lost child, call local authorities at once. This message is from American Window Tinting Incorporated in Franktown. For residential or commercial window tinting, call 303-263-4228.
All right, guys, we're back. You knew we would be. I'm not going anywhere. Here is Laura Ingraham and her guest, Pat Buchanan, talking about the fact that China is, according to Mr. Buchanan, a far greater menace to the United States than Russia is. Let's listen.
The Wall Street Journal editorial from April 24th, 2009. Austin Goolsbee vindication. Obama backtracks on NAFTA as his economic advisor. Obama campaign on negotiating NAFTA. Austin Goolsbee and these other purists on trade said, no, you can't do that. And here we are, all these years later, Donald Trump having become president of the United States, in the throes of this NAFTA renegotiation and
My friends, Donald Trump is indeed fighting for the country. He's fighting for me and for you. Do you understand? Other politicians, career politicians, are not. They're in it for themselves or their party or both. Trump is out for you and me, and that to me is worth everything.
It gets very frustrated when they take something and how long it takes the government to really move. And it's coming from someone outside the government. They've never been around this time like you and I have had. It's tremendous decline. Even some of the announcements announced prematurely. And, targeting them, a little bit more specifically might have been better. But I can tell you this, from the standpoint of what we've already gotten from the Europeans, what we totally got from Korea, and what we're getting from the Chinese, it's just fine. I mean, they're not going to allow the car manufacturers to have double the number of cars each coming into Korea, 50,000 each, which again, doubling the amount, and they can even send more, but the afterwards have to comply with their emission standards. So there's a lot that they have, without the raise tariffs in a short period of time.
China has been running massive trade surpluses, while America has been running massive trade losses. Why? Are the Chinese smarter than we are? Or, if you're found to be a corrupt politician in China, do they kill you? How many corrupt politicians here in America can you remember having been executed? Maybe something worth trying. We'll be back.
Beloved, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirit, whether they are God, because many false prophets have gone into the world. By this you will know the Spirit of God. Every spirit that confesses that Yeshua, Jesus, has come in the flesh is of God, and every spirit that does not confess that Yeshua, Jesus, has come in the flesh is not of God. And this is the spirit of the Antichrist, which you have already heard was coming and is now already in the world. 1 John 4:1.
No state shall enter into any treaty, alliance, or confederation, grant letters of marque or reprisal, coin money, emit bills of credit, make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debt, pass any bill of attainder, ex post facto law, or law impairing the obligation of contracts, or grant any title of nobility. Article 1, Section 10.
Chaplain Collins LLC salutes our emergency first responders for their professionalism, commitment, and bravery. They're willing to put their lives on the line for us with little or no thanks. So let's all take the time to thank our first responders for all they do for us. Also thanking our veterans for the sacrifice they made for our freedom. This message is from Chapel and Column LLC, with 2 locations in Denver and Fort Collins, serving the community for over 13 years. Visit them online at chapelcollins.com. Piccolo's restaurant in Denver reminds us that over 750,000 children were reported missing last year. Over 58,000 of these were abducted by non-family members. Keep an eye out for youngsters at play. If you see anything suspicious, contact the authorities immediately. This message from Piccolo's restaurant in Denver. It's not only the best Italian in the company, it's the people who care. Give them a call at 303-757-5166. 303-757-5166.
Item from the Activist Post. The Afghanistan war is the longest in United States history, and despite initial claims that the goal of the invasion was to keep Americans safe by destroying the Taliban and Al-Qaeda, the result has been a massive increase in opium production that's fueled an ongoing opioid crisis in the U.S. and ensnared more than 2.5 million Americans in heroin addiction. If the United States' goal was to eradicate the source of heroin in order to cut down on addiction and overdoses among Americans, then troops would be destroying opium fields with flamethrowers. Instead, the opposite is happening. U.S. troops have been caught guarding poppy fields. Under supervision from the U.S., Afghanistan is now responsible for producing 90% of the world's opium supply. Unquote. My friends, I've been hearing stories about the CIA involved in this kind of stuff. As long as I've been doing this show, I'm wondering, has anyone in the government investigated this? Item from Fox 5 New York. If you don't smoke and you find yourself walking behind someone who does, it can be unpleasant. Now a New York City councilman wants to do something about it. My bill is very simple. No smoking and walking on New York City sidewalks, said Queens Councilman Peter Koo, Democrat, the 20th District. His bill would make it a misdemeanor to walk while smoking, likely punishable by a fine of $50. Unquote. My friends, I don't understand how Councilman Koo sees in the darkness. I mean, it's dark with his, head up everyone's ass. How does he see? Item from newswars.com. A Minneapolis police officer has been charged with murder in the highly controversial 2017 shooting of Justine Damond, an Australian national who was living in Minnesota with her fiancé. Mohammed Noor, a Somali who entered the U.S. as a refugee, turned himself into authorities after a warrant was issued for his arrest, and he was charged with third-degree murder and second-degree manslaughter 8 months after the killing of Ms. Damond. According to the criminal complaint, Ms. Damond called 911 on a July evening last year to report a possible sexual assault taking place near her apartment. Unquote. My friends, I have a friend who lives in Minneapolis, and she tells me what an absolute pleasure it is having tens of thousands of Somali Muslim migrants. It's a pleasure. Item from Newsweek. A court in Austria has ruled that Transport Ministry official Peter Franz Mayer was discriminated against on the basis of his gender when a managerial role he applied for was given to a woman instead. Unquote. My friends, thank goodness that kind of thing can't happen here in America. Item from Breitbart. More California cities may consider defying the state's sanctuary state laws after the City Council of Los Alamitos passed an ordinance defying the state's controversial new legislation preventing cooperation with federal immigration authorities. Unquote. My friends, little by little, even Californians are coming to their senses. Because there is no sense, no logic, no reason at all behind the sanctuary city, sanctuary campus, sanctuary state thing. It is absolute suicide for this country. And I'm amazed that anyone who has ever, any politician who's ever put forward the idea of a sanctuary city or state gets reelected. Because the voters see very obviously that he doesn't care about them or their welfare or their safety or their lives. He wants to play politics using them as bargaining chips. My friends, if the politicians near you want sanctuary city status, throw them the hell out of office and replace them with people who represent you, not people in some other country, but you. I'll see you tomorrow. Hasta luego.